Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it has been a hot minute since I have uploaded, and I do apologize. Reasoning is just procrastination. You know, people have told me, when are you gonna upload? They've asked me, friends, family, and even some of you guys in my comments on other videos. And it's just been procrastination. But it does mean a lot to me that people want to see me upload more and want to hear me talk about my experiences. So today's going to be not really about my experiences, but about what's happening in the world. It's kind of a little late, but what I want to talk about is how the coronavirus impacts not only myself, but other people with spinal cord injury, and why it's more dangerous for us. So before we talk about the virus itself, I want to talk about the breathing problems that people with spinal cord injury face. So it's broken down by where on the spinal cord you're injured. So if you are injured in the lumbar region or in S1 to S4, which is really low, below your rib cage, you're not really impacted that much. All your breathing muscles work because there are three sets of muscles that help you breathe. The first is your abdominal muscles, so your abs, obviously. Then your intercostal muscles, which are the muscles between each of your ribs. And then your diaphragm. So the first, your abdominal muscles, that really helps with exhaling. Not so much. I mean, it does help with inhaling, but when you lose your abdominal muscles, like me, I have to wear this ab binder, you see. I lose the ability to hold in my organs. So when you lose your ab muscles, it all just flops out. And what that does is that pulls your diaphragm down. So your starting breath is going to be not as deep. You're not going to be able to, even if you completely breathe in, you already started at a disadvantage. And then you can't get all the air out unless you force it out. So if you're injured in the lumbar region or in the sacral region, you're fine. For people injured from T6 to T12, which is in the thoracic region, the diaphragm and intercostal muscles work well, but the abdominal muscles they're going to be weaker. So the ability to cough and sneeze is present but remains weaker than before injury. Level T1 to T5, which is me, I'm a T4 paraplegic. The diaphragm works, the intercostal muscles work, but they're weakened. So for me, my intercostal muscles from here down are weakened. And my abdominal muscles do not work. So the ability to cough and sneeze, I can still cough and sneeze, but it's weak. If you listen to my cough, I have to completely rely on my intercostal muscles, really the back ones. It's not a very good cough. Not good at all. For those who are injured above the thoracic region and the cervical region, these are quadriplegics. For C6 to C8, the diaphragm works well, but the intercostal muscles and abdominal muscles do not work at all. So all of their coughing, sneezing is by the diaphragm itself, just that one muscle. And then C4 to C5, a little bit higher, there's partial function of the diaphragm. The intercostal and abdominal muscles don't work at all. So a person cannot cough or sneeze well, and some of these people may need to be at a diaphragm or on a ventilator at higher levels of injury like C5 or C4. They may need the ventilator only during certain times of day like sleep, rest. And for those above C3, the diaphragm doesn't work at all, so none of the breathing muscles work, and they have to be on a ventilator at all times. So how does that play in with the coronavirus? So with coronavirus, the problem is when all that gunk gets in our lungs and we have to cough it up. For people injured, in any spinal cord injury, coughing is much more difficult, so we can't expel that crap in our lungs. And even if we could cough really well, that doesn't get rid of the virus. It just helps get the gunk out of our lungs. And the reason we need that stuff out of our lungs is that so we don't get pneumonia. Pneumonia is one of the secondary conditions of spinal cord injury. It is very easy for paraplegics and quadriplegics that have impaired lung function to get pneumonia, and it is incredibly deadly. It is the #1 killer of people with spinal cord injury, T6 and above. Just because we can't get that bacteria out of our lungs by coughing, which is why we need to do breathing exercises. That is the best way for us with spinal cord injury to fight, not really fight the coronavirus, but it's more of a preventative measure. So anybody who had a spinal cord injury, or just about everybody, should have been issued one of these, given one of these when they got to the hospital. It is an incentive spirometer, and what it does, it helps you but improve lung function. So really, you just hold on to it, and it measures your lung intake. For those who don't remember how to use this, there is a right here. Let's see. It's hard to see because of how bright it is. Good, better, best. So when you are breathing in, you see that little thing hovers at where it's supposed to be. So you want to have it at, and so it is incredibly difficult. I haven't used this in a long time, but once this coronavirus started happening, I busted this thing out. And anybody else who has impaired lung function should get theirs out and start practicing. I recommend using it. I believe it's recommended to use it 5 times a day, 3 to 5 times a day to help with lung function. Us paraplegics and quadriplegics really need to take this out and start practicing or training our lungs. The other issue with preventing this is we need to wash our hands. The problem with wheelchair users, specifically manual wheelchair users, is our hands are always touching our tires. So if we just, tap the tire part, if we have our hands here all the time, it's not as bad. But we always brush up against our tires. And our tires are always touching the ground. So if we were in an area that was contaminated, even if we wash our hands, as soon as we touch our tires again, it's back on our hands. And so we need to be much more vigilant about washing our hands and keeping them clean. So before eating, I recommend, wash your hands. But once you sit down to eat, sit down. Once you get to your table or where you're eating, use hand sanitizer, then eat. Because even though you wash your hands are going to get dirty again. Set your plate down, hand sanitizer. Easy enough. A lot of you will notice I do have a mustache. It is my quarantine stash that my friends and I are all doing, or we were before they all wimped out and shaved. But I'm going to keep it on until I have to go back to work. So for those who don't know, unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, I was furloughed. And so I am looking for a job right now, and hopefully unemployment comes through. So I know a lot of people are struggling with that. And I would like to do another video talking about, now that I'm home all the time, potential or when depression starts coming up, and how I'm dealing with that, being me, that I can't get out all the time, or I can get out, but it's more dangerous for me. So I would like to do another video talking about that and how to get through that, how I get through that, and how that might help others who are in the same situation. So I will put the sources that I have, or that I used for this video, in the description. So if you want to check them out and do your own reading, go ahead. I highly recommend you do your own reading and research, not just, don't just listen to this one video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you in the next video.